to try the new Vertical Live because, you know, you've got to just try these things. I'm here to talk about D&D. I love it, you love it. Maybe not Hasbro, you know, but I put some questions out on Facebook, see what the struggles were, and I have a few just to talk about. You know, obviously these Vertical Lives are supposed to be just very laid back, and so that's where it is. Talking to someone online, they said that shopping was one of the struggles they had. I didn't really understand what they meant by that until I inquired. They said, you know, pricing, the rates that shops pay, like the role play stuff, essentially. And like I printed out this called Silver Quills list, and this is my go-to shopping list, and not just shopping supplies, but inns and taverns, and you know, potion shop, leather worker, just things that you can use for prices. But then, of course, not every shop is equally the same. Some will try and rip you off, and I guess some will have bargains, and your players, excuse me, when you go live, as soon as your voice starts to go. But yeah, as soon as you get in a shop, there are different prices, and also haggling is a big part of the D&D fun, isn't it? If you've got characters who can persuade you, your shopkeeper, to do a better deal, and there's spells that can alter prices. So if shopping is a problem for you, which I didn't think it was that big of a problem until this guy said it was for him, then there are plenty of lists online. I mean, yeah, the Player's Handbook has got some items, but there's a much more extended list, even if you search Silver Quill price list. It's only a few pages as well, but improvises all sorts of mundane items, and you know, you can maybe just knock top of your head, isn't it? If they haggle and it's a lesser number to buy things, many ways you can do it. You can roll some dice and say that's how much gold you have off, or do percentage dice and then calculator it. But good old persuasion has its place. Excuse me. Now then, in every magical store, they've probably expected that they could well get like robbed, I suppose. It's the obvious thing, isn't it? Shoplifting, and the shops that I've run in like Waterdeep, for example, they have either a really strong shopkeeper who knows all sorts of magic. Now, I actually invent the magic. I don't even strictly do it by the book or anything, because I'm the DM and it's fun for my world. They try and rob my shop. I could have Evad's black tentacles come out the wall and say, yeah, that's what he has. But normally what I'll do is I'll just say something invisible picks you up by the collar and takes you all the way outside. Unseen servant, you could call it. I say there's plenty of unseen servants. And that, you know, the shopkeeper expects to be robbed. And it's a magical shop, so of course you're not going to get away with it. I've even had somebody be teleported onto an island just offshore. That must have been Tomb of Annihilation. So you can deal with shops, just wing it. If you're the DM, you can make up the prices. You don't have to be strict about it. There's plenty of times that I've sold health potions for the wrong price. But don't forget, if you sell health potions, for example, cheap, who's to say they're not going to just do half the damage? You sell a player magic items that don't quite work right because they got them cheap. That just adds to the fun, doesn't it? You know, a really good sharp sword. That's not a good example. A magic item that they got cheap that just doesn't last very long, I think is fun. It serves them right. Something else I've done is, you know, players do try and game the system of shops, don't they? And I have had players come to a shop for certain things, and then the shopkeeper says, I'm sorry, I've sold out. You know, health potions, whatever it may be. I don't have any. You've just missed another adventuring party who has cleared me out of them. and that really gets their goat. So have them sort of pursue the new rivals squad, because they're not the only adventurers in town, and players don't like feeling that they're not the only heroes. And it may sound cruel, but there's nothing gets a player more invested than hearing there's another rival NPC group of adventurers. I mean, that's probably the most memorable thing from my games, from my players, that they faced down this other rival team. I'm even doing it now with Strixhaven. It's a budding team of rivals, and they just will not let them get that celebrity status that they're destined for. So, yeah. So shopping shouldn't be that hard to sort out. Sometimes things are in stock, sometimes not. I mean, it's very overwhelming, especially when you're a beginning DM and you're thinking, what's in this shop? Do they have endless bags of holding? Well, probably not. So roll a six-sided dice or something and say this is how many they've got. You know, there's ways of doing it. Another problem somebody said they had was keeping players focused on the... Oh, speaking of shopkeepers, I'm running Horde of Dragon Queen. I'm planning to use a shopkeeper from Ghost of Saltmarsh. Okay, spy on the party. With the item she sells, auto glyphs of warding can be handy. Exactly that, Kuma Ken. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I haven't done I've got the Ghost of Saltmarsh. I haven't read it even yet. So that's obviously, yeah, of course things are going to be trapped, and stealing shouldn't be that easy, should it? But these new DMs were like panicking over it. And you can just hand wave it. Don't sweat it. Hiya Rivers, hiya Bill. So yeah, I think beginner DMs see the rules as you've got to run a shop like XYZ, and you really don't. You don't have to follow the rules. Right. Next thing was a player, somebody on the Facebook page said they struggle to keep players focused on all the plot lines because you not only have the campaign threads, but he was worried about the backstories that they'd created. And yeah, it gets a lot, doesn't it? And remembering who's doing what and trying to follow them up. You don't have to follow them all up. It's not it's not completely your job to remember the entire game. You know, the players play, and they should follow their own threads. But yes, what I do, I'll have a whiteboard up as I have over there, and I'll say, right, I will write the main quests on, you know, speak to so-and-so, go there, find this. That's what you're doing. And if you've got a quest you want to do, you know, if they decide to overthrow some rival NPCs or burn down a shop, then you write it on the board and you remember it that way. So it's everyone's putting into the game. I don't see why all the threads won't get resolved, just like in life. You know, take 2 years out of your life, you don't get a nice round on everything you're going to do. Some things will get finished in your story and some won't, and the DM only really has to push the story forward, and the players can do kind of what they want. And if they forget their own quest lines, tough, innit? You know, there are times when you can split the party and do scenes, especially in a town, for example. That's not a problem. I do try and write down the bullet points of each player's doing this. Which one are you going to tackle first? You know, do you all go together? And I don't like some players having to wait for 10, 20 minutes while we're doing someone else's scene. I try not to do that. But they do seem to be able to manage for 20 minutes to listen to someone else's story. So don't sweat it. And, you know, they'll remind you what they want to do. Have a portion in your game where you literally say, right, guys, I've given you the quest for the evening. You've done that. Improvise. What do you want to do now? It's up to them then, isn't it, to remember what they want to do. But keeping them all focused is what he said on the plot lines. If they're doing too many side quests and they're inventing side quests, then the NPCs are there to, you know, kick down the door of whatever council meeting they're in and say, guys, we need you to go see that wizard. You know, you've got to, you've been messing around shopping in town for 2 days. If you're not going to do it, we'll hire somebody else. That's my go-to, hire somebody else. And they're like, no, we want the honour. You know, players don't like seeing anybody, the local veterans or city guard, coming back from a quest that they were supposed to do with their treasure. That doesn't go down well. But more fool them. If there's a quest to do and it's urgent, you tell them to go do it. Right, another problem players said they were having was combat being a slog. I mean, I know I have recently been thinking this is hard work at times. You know, a round with more players. Sometimes I have 6 players, and the combat is just drags on too long. And I think we all know that as players and DMs. It's just a matter of, do you egg timer it and say you've got X amount of time? Do you make them roll damage and attacks at the same time so all the dice are rolled? What else is there? I mean, I don't think I take a long time to perform the monsters' combat actions. I know what they're going to do, and they don't have the same vast array of stat blocks, obviously. And they're more just, you have some basic attacks and maybe a special attack. So it's not difficult for me to keep the monsters going that hard. Obviously, you don't do every single kobold on different initiative orders. They're all on the same order. So you group your monsters. It's just kind of a given, isn't it, really? So combat being a slog is really down to the players. And it can be the most boring part of hack and slash. So what else have I tried? I've tried 2 players going at once. I've said, right, then the first 2 in initiative, you go together. You can just shout at me what ACs you're aiming for, and I'll do it. When I run more than 6 creatures or so, I group them together by... Yeah. Or by area. You mean literally area on the map? Or like top, these guys over here, these guys over here. I presume you mean that. Yeah, but like I say, I don't think it's the DM side that is an issue. I think it's totally the players. And I fully sympathise with, okay, I know what I'm going to do. In 3 turns from now, I'm going to cast Whole Person. I'm going to instinct this to happen. And then I move the monsters, somebody else pulls the monster up from underneath the boulder, and they're like, I knew what I was going to do, and now I don't know what I'm going to do. There's also that thing of setting a timer and then making the players do a basic hit or a dodge action. I listened to that. I've never actually implemented that. If my players are talking, I will just say, you're going to miss your go in a second because I'm sick of waiting. I will do that. But these are my players. These aren't like talking to you. It's like my son. It's like, you know, people who have played with me for years. I get away with that. But yeah, I just think combat is a slog. It's never going to be fast and streamlined. So it's always going to be a bit slow. It's whether you all as a group can handle it and say, it's just part of it. You know, if people are really moaning about it, I don't know what to suggest, really. Hurry up. That's about the only good advice I can say. It's just one of them things. And you might find a system where... You know what I've done before? I've also rolled a bunch of D20s and said, just not even gone for a DC. Well, in a sense, I've gone, if I get over 10, they hit. And they do average damage every time. No other dice rolling for me. So 5 goblins, I roll 5 D20s, okay. Now I don't care what their AC is. You know, this speeds things up. If I'm looking at all the different ACs, it's just like, right, if it gets over 10, it hits you. It does 5 damage. Onto your go. Basically pass the ball back to your players. So that you can say, well, I'm not being slow. It's you guys. So, another struggle that was said was descriptions. I struggle to describe all the different damage effects. And, you know, we've all watched big YouTubers or, you know, I try not to say Critical Role because they're not just, you know, Brennan Lee Mulligan, Jason from Dungeons and Randomness. There are plenty of other decent NPC DMs who can be name dropped for, being a good DM. But let's just say, because most of you will get it, Critical Role isn't the only way to do it. And I know you all want to think, okay, well, I'm going to really put my time and energy into describing every spell attack. But sometimes it's just easy to say, yeah, Eldritch Blast, right, you blow him away, right, that did X amount of damage, move on. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't feel you have to do it all the time. And always, like your early sessions, your first few sessions, you really go to town on it, don't you? You really create this new world. But then, after that, by session 10, does anyone really expect you to beautifully, poetically describe magic missile hitting? No, they don't. You did this attack, let's move on. So, again, I don't know why anyone would feel the pressure. You deliver what you can deliver, and if someone don't like it, let them DM next time and show you how it's done. And yeah, maybe the first few sessions, they will beautifully describe things, but people just get used to your way of DMing, and nobody questions my way, and I don't even get worried enough to say, hey, was that alright, guys? It's like, this is my game, enjoy it, or don't. Players just want to play. They just want to roll some dice and hit some things. As a DM, that's, I would say, the main thrust of a session by session. Sometimes describing the damage too much can throw players off, in my experience. Yeah, well, again, it's another thing of slowing it down, isn't it? Don't you find that you can describe some cool things happening, or two cool things, and then later on your players go, wait, when did they get grappled? And it's like, they're not listening anyway, so why even bother? One comment said, oh, my problem is creative burnout. Well, creative burnout, that's what modules are for. So pick a book off the shelf. Everyone's done the adventure path for you. It's much easier to, if that's what, I can only think that's what you mean, because burnout as a DM is just you having to come out with new content, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, sometimes if you don't want to be the DM, then force someone else to do it. Say, look, guys, I've done this for a year. It's someone else's time to do it. I personally don't like playing. I'm surprised how little and fun I have playing D&D now that I've DM'd so much, And I can't really. I think it's because I permanently have a go. I think that's the thing. Combat, especially as we mentioned, is slow, and it's like, when's it my go again? But creative burnout, I guess when you've created a homebrew world and you've gone through, factions, gone down to mayors and the trials and tribulations of the local pub, and you're thinking, what else can I do? There are like pick up Call of Cthulhu and not play Call of Cthulhu. Pick up another module. This Shadowrun, I've not even played that, but God. There's Grim Hollow I have, Tomb of Beasts, there's other monsters that the players won't expect. And so that's what makes it fun again. If you're excited about something, I don't think you'll feel burnout. Yes, all the towns become the same. But again, if you just buy a bunch of maps from like Loki Battle Mats or whatever, you sort of put the map down and you can describe that's where you are. It takes off the pressure of you describing it. They can literally see it. So to stop yourself being creatively burned out, just find an easier way. Give it to somebody else for a while. Watch more films, read more books, play Warhammer. God, you play other things like that, and you'll soon find inspiration for ideas. So another problem, another struggle people had: scheduling issues. You want to play D&D. I want to play it every week, once a week. Saturday is our home game. And my literal week is built around Saturday lunchtimes. I'm all the time at work. It gives me the greatest of pleasures to think about D&D. Just prepping. I love it. Personally, I watch D&D YouTube. I listen to the YouTube podcasts. I completely immerse myself in it. I'm doing a YouTube channel. I'm like prepping one book to do a series on. I'm actually running another. I'm probably looking at a new book I've bought. You know, it's endless. Sometimes it could be how the world reacts to your homebrew, or players' actions in a module, like I plan to have Cyan Wrath live past Chapter 3, for instance. Cyan Wrath is a good example. I was saying in my redux of that module that Cyan Wrath could live and could become the big bad. I mean, he's a pretty cool dude. And yeah, sometimes, you know what I like to do to shake it up? I think of an adventure and I think, what if the heroes weren't the hero and it's some like any random person in that module? Like, you've probably not all run certain games, but pick a random NPC and think, what if they were the hero? What if the story's all about them and they come back later? I don't know, just put a different spin on things in your head to refresh yourself, you know. And a local NPC has a life, doesn't it? He has a family, he has to keep a roof over his family's head, or he's got estranged family. He could have a plot. You know, people steal church funds, don't they? I'm talking about the microdrama. Doesn't have to all be the world-changing stuff, but the knock-on effect of stolen funds is that they're investigated. Maybe they go to prison, maybe there's a riot about those stolen funds. The tiniest NPC decision can become a brand new plot thread later on, and be like, oh, remember that vicar you caught, you know, in that room with the funds? Then he's now caused a massive revolt. Maybe he's turned evil and turned to dark magic, and he's made his congregation into some sort of horrible things. He's the rival to my Gold Dragonborn. Yes, a rival. Perfect. My former paladin, Gold Dragon, secret backstory from the book. I know what you're talking about there. So, scheduling issues we got to. I have more players than I need. 6 or 7 to start. It's dwindled down because people end up not being able to commit. So, like today, we had 3. I thought it was going to be 2. I will play with 2 because I plan my week, and I'm a player too. To be fair, I've played with me and my son. I've been the DM, and he's run around. I've done that for loads of times, and he gets a sidekick, so it's them 2, and we just want to play D&D in any setting. So we play it in our world. It just doesn't affect the main story, but it's in that world. So get more players. I know people who only play once a month, or once every 2 months. I might play 4 hours, but I'm sorry, that wouldn't do for me. That's why I started a home game. God, it's why I started a channel, because I'm constantly thinking about it. I love it. You know, anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about scheduling. Planning ahead. That's obviously the idea is, you say we're playing the 3rd Wednesday of every month, you know, and things are going to come up, but the game comes first, and those players who don't turn up, have them miss out. Be like, well, okay, it's as if this week the characters don't exist. Yeah, but so-and-so had that magic sword. Well, he ain't here now, so you don't have that magic sword. You know, there's only, what have you got? You 2 have got to deal with this problem. And then when you get the loot, it's split between 2 of you and not the usual 4. And so when the players all get together the week after, what did you miss? What did I miss last week? Well, we got all this stuff. Oh, how much did I get? None of it. You didn't get any of it. You weren't here last session. Sod off. We took the 1,000 gold and we 50-50'd it. So when the characters turn up, when the players turn up, it's like the characters turning up in my mind. It's like they can have the benefit. I play 2 weekly games, I imagine, and run once a month. The monthly game is when Party of 4 can make it. Yeah, several games. I didn't even think of that. Have several games. I have run one online at the same on a midweek, and then had a game on a Saturday with my regular crew, and yeah, as long as you get to play once a week, players can do what they want. If I start a module, I am going to be there every Saturday. Okay, there might be one where it's a birthday or a wedding I can't get out of, but other than that, I don't think I miss more than 1 session a campaign. My son's illness, so I don't invite people round. But you know, I don't quit. I start, and if the players don't turn up for it, okay. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to play, and you're going to miss out on that session. And then next session, it's like, what are we doing? It's like, oh, we did this really cool thing last week, we did this really cool thing, but you weren't here, so that's what happened. And make them want to go. You know, if they miss it, and it's like laziness, you can't have that hold you back, can you? It's like, we're playing. You move mountains to play, but maybe you still can. I understand, that's fair enough. Don't sweat about it, but be like, we're playing. If you're not, fine. You could, I don't know, it's different circumstances, maybe say, look, you missed 3 sessions, you're out. I kind of think that's a bit harsh. Like, I've had a player who came to the first session. Now this is a new player, it's my friend's, my son's friend. One friend, always here. The other friend came to the first session. I thought, okay, we're going to have loads of players, right? And then maybe the second or third. Yeah, it is. Having Q McKenna is just saying it's different when you have 3 players compared to 7. Okay, so if you have 3 players, that's not enough, is it? It's like, have you got any standing players? You look online, there's always people who are begging for games. None of my friends are into D&D. I just say stack out more players or backup players. You know? That's what I do. Game comes first. I'm gonna play. I'm the DM. I'm going to play one way or the other. There are plenty of people out there who will have a play if they don't want to. So really, that's about it for the problems that people wrote in about. We're nearly at the half-hour mark. All I've got here is about Hasbro's news recently, the cancelling of Dragonlance. That really annoyed me. Not because I've been to Dragonlance. I have the Dragonlance. I've never run it. But you get used to these little, not just D&D Direct, wasn't it? It's like, we're going to do this. We're going to have Minecraft in about a year's time. We're going to... I mean, party size are free and one can't make a session. Yeah, that's what I'm... Yeah, I know, yeah. If you're down to 2 people, I still play for 2 people. I play for 1. And yeah, it's a bit of a problem, but just get another player. If people don't want to turn up, they don't have to turn up. So yeah, basically Hasbro, you know, doing their thing, cancelling stuff. I mean, I couldn't believe that the Honor Among Thieves Blu-ray had been out even last year. I was like, I didn't see an advert. And now I'm kind of annoyed and maybe don't want to buy it. Because I liked that film. I did, and we boycotted it at the cinema. You know, we watched it elsewhere. You know what I mean? See what I'm saying? Later on, because of this boycott. And I'm not invested in anything D&D wise other than wanting to play their stuff. It's not like I have a Kickstarter out or something and it would have affected me. I really see it's horrible. It were horrible goings on, but I had no real investment. It's like, yeah, that's bad for them, you know. So I still buy. If you're out of questions, I have one I want opinions on. Absolutely go for it, because this is the last question. Yeah, I bought Book of Many Things, the full set and stuff. I just love this game. What do you want? Oh, yeah, I know you'll be typing, and I know there'll be a delay. So, Vecna. Obviously, I want the Vecna thing, and I wanted to do the how to run the Vecna game, and I want to do the one shot that comes with the digital only Vecna Eve of Ruin, and yet when I went to go order it off D&D Beyond, it was a case of I'd have to get the actual hardcover book from America as well, when I'm in the UK. It's just like more shipping on top and stuff. I'm hoping that I get the book from Amazon, and I'm hoping that in some way D&D Beyond at least put that one shot on digital on D&D Beyond, and I can then do a little video about running that as well. But I wanted to do it early. That was the thing. Getting it early would have been the cool thing. Because that Vecna book looked really good, and still does, but they've just cut it in half. 1 to 20 is now 10 to 20. All that material that they must have just thrown in the bin, you know? Yeah, they did that with Spelljammer. When you actually play Spelljammer, there's like a character who will suddenly come out into space and be like, you guys, you cannot pass. And he's like really big bad. And then he goes, only joking. I just came to give you this. It gives you something for your quest. He doesn't know who you are. He just gives you this thing, and then he sods off in a text box of description, and you're like, what was that? Surely there's more to that. But that more to that is hit on the cutting room floor, and they really butchered into Spelljammer's, what was it called? Light of Xerxes. Yeah, it was obvious that they'd like hacked loads out, maybe just to fit in a smaller box. It's all down to money, isn't it? They print it on thicker paper, just give you less content. And I hope that the Vecna book doesn't show that they've hack and sliced too bad. Right, McKen, I have plans to secretly give my party as a draconic shard as an emergency. I overbalance the encounter. It's a TPK situation type thing. Also, RPing on other benefits it gives. They are level 3. I have plans to secretly give my party a draconic shard as an emergency because you messed up and it's almost a TPK. Reminds me what a draconic shard does. Because I don't know. But you're basically giving them a thing that's going to strengthen them up. Well, that's not a problem. That's what the gods are for, you know? Don't forget that the gods aren't... I don't plan to tell them everything. It may talk to just one of them. Oh yeah, you've got a sentient piece of... Again, it's just... that's what the gods are for. Gods aren't like, do gods exist in D&D? Everyone knows they do. Everyone chooses to believe or not believe. And so they can inspire literally anyone, whether they're a devout believer or not. You know? It's the ghost of a gem dragon. Okay, that pretends to be an item. I fully understand now. Yes. It's fine, isn't it? If you overbalance something, it's well within your power to... Oh, look, and around the corner comes the cavalry. You know, it's fine. But yes, finding something on the road... A sentient sword, thirst for blood, been done, but it's a classic. You know, a child NPC. I'll tell you what you can get your players with every time. A dog. You just have a random dog, and they don't even seem to think, hey, that's a druid. So don't have it be a druid. Have it be some sort of... It can be a witch. It can be I've had a hag follow the party around in dog form, and no one's questioned it for months and months until that dog then turns into a hag when they're really weakened. So, yeah, it can talk. That's cool. You can fix... Oh, sorry, we're talking about... well, this last question was one of the people playing now. One of the people commenting now. Basically, we've got their party in like a TPK situation, and so they decided to give them a draconic shard that is going to basically give them power and abilities to not be TPK'd, but that's absolutely fine. You know, you can blast your players as hard as you like. You can one-shot your players with a massive dragon stomping on their faces, and then you have the ability to make the dragon fly off. What's resurrection for, if not, you know, a load of Jedi clerics come in and heal you at the last minute. You're all dead. Okay, I TPK'd. Well, you wake up and now you owe your life to these, you know, this monastery of life givers. Hey, that could play out for half a session. Don't worry about it. So now you're supposed to, you know, worship our god. There's no rules for the DM. You just got to keep the game going. You can completely kill all your players, have them in the afterlife, and run a month of them in a different, you know, astral plane and just completely make it up. And then say, right, you owe us, you have to go and get 3 followers each, one of you, or whatever. There's no rules for us. So, TPK means nothing in my game. You know, unless I'm like, that's a good full stop. Tomb of Annihilation, there are several parties so that you can like kill all your players and then a different set of 4 come in and they're trying to do the Tomb of Annihilation. And it's about annihilating them. And it goes for anything. It's this rule stands for any module. So you can say just a different group of adventurers. You know, you're playing them now. I don't like the enemy had a heart attack mentally. I don't even know what that means. But yeah, it's just, I won't worry about it. You can break the rules. You have no rules, I suppose, is the right way thing to say. Well, I thank you for watching. That was just really something I decided to jump on for funsies and to see if to get part of the D&D vertical space on the live streams. We might do it again. We might not. Let me just see if what we got here. All right. So it looks like I press some of this to end. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to see what else I can do. I want to keep most of this party through Dragon Queen. Yeah. It is a problem when you get to the end of Horde of the Dragon Queen, because it's a 2 books thing, generally speaking. It's like, I don't want people to die. And you sometimes do have to fluff it, don't you? And cheat. But, as I say, there are mechanics for that. Maybe they come back as a revenant. I look into that. I like that. I like the idea of all the heroes coming back as undead and being changed. But maybe because they've got that special purpose, the gods just grant them life after life, because no, it's your fate to, kill or stop Tiamat from coming back. I love that idea. I don't know if this is going to end or say, I'm not sure I want to end. I'm going to press this. Am I sure I want to stop streaming? Yes, so hopefully this will stop streaming. I thank you very much.